So hello guys, good morning. Welcome to Workspace Singapore. So we'll talk about Angular 4, Webpack, and Yarn and JHipster. So I'm Sendil Kumar. I'm a developer and JHipster and JX lead. You can reach me out on Twitter, GitHub, anywhere, and that is my link below. So anybody here using TypeScript? Wow, okay. Anyone using Angular 2 in production applications? Okay, I see one or two hands. Good. Have you ever used JHipster before? Oh, we have a couple of hands here. Sure. So JHipster is nothing but a human generator. It helps you to generate a Spring Boot-based application with Angular at the front end. So it gives you the complete suite for you, so you can get set and go ahead with whatever the model that you have inside. So this is few statistics about JHipster. JHipster is entirely an open source organization, like entirely open source stuff. And this is our statistics. The total downloads are 500 some K. And also the last month we had 43K of downloads. So this is what Spring is all about. So have anybody used here Spring? Okay, so Spring is all about, like, you have a lot of varieties inside Spring. You can pick something and put it together and then run your applications on top of it. So Spring Boot came and it solved the problem, like it gave you something to eat. So go ahead, you can straight away have this application running with just one main class. So Spring Boot gives that flexibility to you. And what JHipster does is it gives an entire meal to you. So you have a lot of options. You have a lot of things added to it by default. And if you want to customize anything, if you want to change anything, you can go ahead and change it. So this is what JHipster in a much broader way. We do have a lot of options in JHipster. So if you take a look at JHipster, is nothing but a command line tool you have. And we also have a desktop application. So it helps you to build your applications from the ground up. There are a lot of options available inside JHipster. So you can choose whatever option you want, mix and match it, and then probably get it and produce your production-ready applications. So the one of the option is architecture option. So here you have a couple of options. One is you can generate a monolithic-based application. And the second one is you can generate a microservices-based application. And even in microservices, we have a gateway application, as well as we have the normal application. So gateway acts as a single holder of all the containers, all the services that are registered. And we do have microservice application. So you can create it from the ground up. And we do have a complete DevOps thing inside. If you guys are using GitLab, how many of you using GitLab here? So if you guys are using GitLab, we do provide a GitLab CI YAML file. So it goes and it does all the pipeline activities and then it deploys your application. Added to that, we also have Docker Gradles, Docker builds inside. So we do provide Docker YAML file. So with the help of those files, you can containerize your application and then use it forward. And we do have multiple deployment options. For the cloud, we have Kubernetes deployment option. And recently, we have added OpenShift for that. So they are just a command away. So you just type in a command. You can deploy it in various services that are available. So we do have Rancher OS support, Docker support. And also, we have supports for Heroku, Cloud Foundry, and AWS. So let's just create an application with JHipster with a CLI tool. So I just created a folder and went inside the folder. To create an application, you just have to type this, JHipster. So the moment you typed it, it will ask you a series of questions. You have to answer those series of questions, and probably you end up in creating a production-ready application. Oops. I think I'm in a wrong folder. So here are the options that we are talking about. So everybody can see this, right? So here are the options that we're talking about. You have a monolithic application, you have microservice, a gateway, and an user authentication server. So probably if you want any of the services, you can go ahead and use it. So we'll just create a monolithic application. And just name your application in whatever you want. And for all these things that we support, we have a ground of application in JHipster, but we do have an external modules with which you can add in React. If you want to add in React, you can add with an external module. And there are a lot of modules available. You can go and take a look at our website. So we are not going to do anything from Marketplace now. Is it too fragile here? And then you can have a package name here. And after that, if you want to add in a registry really helps you in terms of microservices application. But we do have an option to add in registry for your monolithic applications. And the type of authentication that you want to use. And the type of databases. So you do have an option between SQL and NoSQL databases. And what is a production database that you need to have. And the development database, you can choose the variety here. Like for development, you can basically go for H2, which is in-memory database. And then for production, you can go for your MySQL or an PostgreSQL. And we do have a caching. So this is a caching for multi-server as a single server. And the build tool which you want to use for Java. So how many of you used Maven here? Gradle? OK, so Gradle is much faster than Maven, so, and it is much newer. And you can also select multiple options. You can have a social login here. By default, we are generating a Google, Facebook, and then Twitter login for you. So everything is auto-created. You just have to take your key and secret, put it inside. It will work out of the box. And we do have Kafka support and Elasticsearch too. So here is the interesting part. You can choose between Angular 1 and Angular 4. So Angular 4 is still in beta, but it's almost complete. We'll be releasing the version probably in next couple of months. So I'll select Angular 4. And then if you want to use SASS for your library, for CSS management or CSS stuff, so if you want to use any other thing like SASS, you can use it. And we do have multiple language support. So you can select your primary language, and you can select from the list of languages that are available here. And added to that, we have a lot of testing frameworks added in the system. Gatling and Cucumber mainly for Java-based testing, and we do have Protractor for Angular-based testing. So the moment you create it, it will generate the entire files for you. Added to that, it will also install the NPM dependencies. We are using Yarn for installing the NPM dependencies. Added to that, it generates a package of it compiles your TypeScript files into JavaScript file, and then have it ready. So once you just have to kickstart your application, and it runs out of the box. So let it install the dependencies. We'll go back to slides and come back here. Added to that, we also provide you with Studio. This Studio is more for generating your entities as well as your database stuffs. Like you have a couple of entities to do. You can go ahead, hit the Studio, and then probably you can construct your application, like construct your entities over there. It will give you a single JHipster file, JH file, with which you can produce your entities and your application. So we also provide basic CRUD operations for all the entities that you're having. You can define the relationship there and then use it forward. I'll show you how to spin up some entities. So the moment you give this, like we have a DSL inside. It takes your whatever you type in and it converts into an entity. So you can just define. So current application, what we are going to build now is a blog application, which is a blog, and each blog will have a list of entries into it, and the entries will have some tags attached to it. So this is just the database format or the model format of whatever you're going to create. So you can go ahead and use this. So the moment you type in this, you get the basic entities as well as the screens that are applicable for those entities. So we have done creating our application. I'll just boot up the application now. So the thing here is we have a Gradle blade inside. So what it does is it runs and then it runs a ng2. So it compiles your JavaScript stuff, your TypeScript stuff into JavaScript, and then we put it in a build package, and then we package it together, and then we release it. Like it will be hosted on your local host. So this is what it is doing now. So this is the basic application that you will get. Okay, so you do have a login module and a user management module, and we have a couple of other modules. I'll show it now. So this is a completely Angular 2 generated application. So upon login, this is your home screen, and you have a list of modules here, the user management, where we have a basic CRUD operation for all your user management stuffs, the metrics of the application, the JVM metrics, and other metrics. And it does have health checks, like all the databases connected towards it, all the disk space on which it is running. It has all the details about it. So these are the things Spring Boot provides you out of the box using actuator endpoints. And we made it easy, so we gave an UI for that. So with that UI, you can easily check it. So here is where the monitoring part of your application comes into picture. And we do have a Swagger API inbuilt in it. So for any API that you're building, you can go ahead and check the API, how the API should respond, what are the things that you can expect from that API. These are the things that you can expose it to the outer world, and people get to know how to interact with your APIs. So I'll just download this file that we have generated here. I'll just download this. So just added it here in this folder. Oh, it's blog SG, is it? Okay. So creating entities is just a matter of another command, JHipster entity, and then the JH file which you're given. So this will generate all the entities that you have created. We have created almost 3 entities. Oops. I think something wrong is there. So this will generate all the entities that whatever you have generated, the block, the entries, and other things. I'll show you that in the code. Sorry, in the thing. So it will be generated for you. So if you have a look at it, you have the basic 3 entity files here. The block, from where you can create your block. So block has a name and stuff. And then you can create list, take the users from the list of user management that you have. And basically you can go ahead and add in entries and all those stuffs. So the entire CRUD application is built for you. Okay, moving back to slides. So this is what we currently have in client side. So we have an option between Angular 1 and Angular 2. In case of Angular 1, for building, we have used gulp plus buffer. And then we had HTML and AngularJS. And then testers like Karma, Protractor, and Jasmine matches. For Angular 2, what we have done is we have moved more towards Webpack. So initially, we started with System.js. But then we ended up in using Webpack because it has all the things that we needed. And we ended up in writing TypeScript stuffs for Angular, and then all the testers which are related to Angular 1, but we have rewritten everything in TypeScript again. So again, in the server side, you have plenty of options, plenty of things to choose from, like Elasticsearch, Kafka, whatever. So you have a lot of options to take in, you can take in. So the main aim of JHipster is it's more of a developer experience platform. So we are trying to increase the developer experience, and it was built by developers for developers. So what we have done in migrating from Angular 1 to Angular 4, so this is the main thing, like the lessons learned, you can say, or what are the migrations, what are the steps that we've taken. How many of you are here like trying to move from Angular 1 to Angular 2? So probably these are the things that we have done for the past 1 year. It took us a longer time to migrate from Angular 1 to Angular 4. So first thing is we moved into TypeScript. So TypeScript obviously is a superset of JavaScript. And it also has, like, it compiles and produces a pure JavaScript for you. And you don't need to worry about your syntaxes anymore. You can be, you can write in your latest syntax. You can use async await, and then use compilers that compiles into ES3 or ES5 stuffs. So the hard part of making the boilerplate code or repeating the redundant code in JavaScript is taken out. And you have a lot of sugar syntax here, which is actually helping you out. So this is a generic example here, like a small class in TypeScript and a JavaScript. So in JavaScript, you have to make it a function. You have to make that function and export it and do all the other stuffs. But it's TypeScript is much simpler and readable. It aligns more towards C# or Java. And it's much more easier for people who are coming from object-oriented stuff. Another shift that we have to make is in Angular 1, since we started with MVVM, we have to convert all our controllers into a component. So there are two things here. Like once you have something in component, you always you have something in controller, you always start using scope, digest, and all the other stuff, which reduces the performance of the system. So in order to have it very neat, in components we have a lifecycle methods inside, which actually helps into bootstrap your application and then put things wherever you want to add it. And then we have service migration. So the first thing about this like in service migration, what we have done is we have taken out all the injectable stuffs and then put it inside an Angular 2 as an injectable class. So here again, it again goes to class, and you have much more readability and much more good experience rather than using JavaScript, which has you have to write a lot of boilerplate stuff inside JavaScript, which it is removing. And few of the things that we have tried out is we have started using UI router at first. UI router had some, it doesn't have any problem, but we try to align more towards Angular CLI. So that is the main reason why we were moving to Angular router. So we started with UI router and then took a decision, and then we moved to Angular router. Angular router is based on browser model. It's easier to understand. And it is easier to do lazy loading. Lazy loading is very important when you're doing Angular 2 application in order to reduce your payload at the front. and it is much more easier. So we moved to Angular router. But initially, there were a lot of confusions in Angular router, and Angular team has changed drastically. We had some versions, and then they skipped some version. There were a lot of breaking changes that we are expecting, that we have faced. And a lot of things we have to find a workaround to do it. For simple title change for the page, it was much easier in UI router, but in Angular router, we have to do a lot of other stuffs, like a lot of workarounds that we have to do, which actually took us some time. And one important change in Angular 2 is the Webpack. So Webpack, what is Webpack? How many of you using Webpack here? Okay, so great. So the Webpack, it actually helps you to bundle your scripts into static assets. So whatever you're given, it converts them into static assets and give it to you back. And you can do all the other stuffs inside Webpack. Like you have an entry where you actually add in, like, you say, this is a point where my code has to run. So my code has to start. So once you define that entry, Webpack actually forms a dependency graph for you. It tracks all the managements, all the inputs that you have given, and then it forms a graph for you, and it runs through as a graph, convert into ASTs, and then use it. So doing that, we have plugins and loaders. Loaders actually help, like if you're using TypeScript, you have to compile it to JavaScript in order that it has to run in a browser. So to do that, we have loaders, and we have a lot of plugins, like string replacement plugin, all those kind of stuffs, which actually helps you to work with that. And generally, once it is done, you have to specify an output file, which can be a single bundle or a chunks of bundle, which also you can specify it in plugins in order to how you want to do it. So this is a basic architecture that we have in Webpack. We have a common Webpack file. And we do have polyfills and vendor. So polyfills is a location where we have used all the reflect metadata and the things like that. And vendor, we have used the CSS, mostly the Bootstrap CSS. And the common file is more of the common things that we do across dev and prod. And we have two separate things for dev and prod. So dev, mainly we have a live server which automatically reloads and does all the stuff that you want in development environment. And in terms of prod, we just minify it. We are now doing AOT stuffs. We will be completing it in next month. But yes, that is what we are doing in prod. So it basically compiles and then bundles it together and give it to you. The reason why we went to Webpack is there are a lot of options available for you, and there are a lot of plugins which you can use it, and it's working out of the box. And Angular CLI is also running on top of Webpack. So in order to align more towards Angular CLI, we have used Webpack. I'll switch to demo now. So we do have Angular CLI file here. This is Angular CLI JSON file, with which you can go ahead and generate your entities with Angular CLI command. So you can go inside the JHipster folder and then type ng generate your component. It will go and generate the component in the particular location that we have given. So this is a Webpack configuration I'm talking about. You do have a common Webpack which says the entry, and it has modules with loaders. So these are the loaders that we are using for the particular type of files. And added to that, we have a list of plugins. We have a copy Webpack plugin, which helps you to copy all the stuffs, copy the resources. And we have asset plugin and string replacement plugin. Those are the plugins that we use. And this is a div, which mainly consists of a loader plus a browser sync plugin. So browser sync is used more for, like, if you have a responsive application and you have to test in multiple stuffs, multiple environment, multiple devices, you can use browser sync. You can connect browser sync to a port and then open it on all your devices, and it automatically reloads if you reload in one device. So everything is connected together. And we have a separate vendor Webpack file, which holds all the vendor related information, all the libraries that we are using. So it encompasses whatever library that we have inside the application. So So basically, we are just generating a Spring Boot application. So you have your Java inside here. This is a starting point. And you have web app inside there. You have the entire list of your Angular 2 files, so Angular 2 stuffs. And we use Yarn for building packages. How many of you using Yarn here? Okay. So Yarn is much faster than NPM, and it is much more like, I'll show you some statistics here. Like initially, for the first install, we had 200 seconds for NPM to install all the dependencies that we have for a project. But using Yarn, it reduced drastically, more than 50%. You can see it's 71 seconds. And for the subsequent install, it's even much lesser. It just runs within a second for Yarn. So it is much more robust, you can say. NPM, we have to go for shrink wrap, and that has a lot of problems across the multiple platforms. But Yarn, it comes with that. You have a log file generated, which NPM 5 is doing now. So probably it has much more robust, and it's very faster in building your dependency graph and downloading all the stuffs. So we do have Bootstrap for all the UIs. We started with Bootstrap 3 in Angular 1, and we are now using Bootstrap 4 for Angular 2. We do have support for Sass. You might have seen in the questions. You can do Sass, and we do have plugins that is written to convert Sass into CSS. And this is a processing that I was talking about. It's really useful if you're developing a responsive application and you're going to test it across multiple devices. You just have to run your development server there, and it boots up and it runs in all the devices. You change and you refresh a page in one device, every other page is getting refreshed. So it is very good for productivity. And we do have comma-based testing. So comma-based testing, and it is written in TypeScript again, and it runs on whole Angular stuff. So few of the learnings that we had, or you can call it tricks or learning that we had, we try to distance ourselves a lot from DOM. So any updates to DOM is costly, and it's taking a lot of time. So we try to distance ourselves from the DOM. That is what Angular team is also telling us, telling people to distance yourself from the DOM. And we are trying to implement AOT for super minification of your JavaScript. We have done it in trial environments. Currently, the payload is like 400 kilobytes in production mode. But we are trying it. AOT is giving somewhere around 250 to 300, which is very good. We are planning to add it in future. And we do have a plan for adding lazy loading. So the lazy loading is entirely for, it reduces a chunk. It reduces a payload for you. Probably if you're just opening a home page and you have to reduce all the other stuffs behind it, you can use it. So lazy loading helps you in doing that. And the main aim is to reduce the payload and make the application as fast as it could be. And one thing is, we have to use, we are telling you that browser sync is very good for increasing your developer experience if you're doing a responsive web application. And be careful about the library migration. We had a lot of problems in library migration. So initially, we started with hybrid mode. And probably we gradually moved our entire code into like module by module, we changed into TypeScript, and then moved into Angular 2. But we do had a lot of problems with the libraries. We have to take it, but suddenly the library goes out, and then we have to find an alternative to that library. For Angular 1, we had a very wide range of libraries, but Angular 2, something is coming up now. But we had a lot of problems in the initial times, but now there are good support for libraries. But please make sure that certain libraries with which we have started, we have to give it up and then start all over again. These are the few things that we have learned on the way. So we have created an application now. I'll try to push it to cloud, and then probably we'll use it in the cloud. OK, I'll just try to create some things here. Like, you can create a new block here. Go inside here and then, okay, I'll just have to create a type here. So I've created a tag there, and then so here, whatever you choose, like based on the relationship, you get to have the UI for you. Suppose, for example, for the tag, we have given many-to-many relationship. So you have a selectable text area here. And this is one-to-many relationship. So you have a single dropdown. So we basically, based on the relationship, create an UI for us, the basic UI, with on top of which you can run. So just created it. Suppose I'm adding a tag here. So it basically shows this entire thing in a HTML. So probably what we can do is we can add it in an HTML and then try it out. So what I'll do is, so we do follow the single responsibility principle here. So for delete, you have a separate set of HTML and TypeScript file. And for each and every functionality that we are having separate sets of HTML as well as the TypeScript file. So every HTML and TypeScript does one function for you. So it is a single SRP functionality. So if you have a look at this, this is the TypeScript file that we are generating, and this is HTML that we are generating. So basically what we can do here is, so since we have added this entry.content here, it shows you that in a HTML tag. So probably we'll change it to inner HTML, which will show it in a much more way that we need it. And in order to do that, you have to start your So this is a live server that we are talking about. This starts your live server. So it watches for your file changes, and then it converts all the file changes, all the TypeScript file changes, and compiles them back to JavaScript. So this is what basically it is doing, and it boots up your server. It has a browser sync in it, so it boots up your server with the browser sync API. So you have two endpoints to reach. One is your Spring Boot endpoint. The other one is the endpoint that is given by browser sync. And if you see, the moment I opened it, it boots up the application and runs in a different port, which is different from the port that it is running for your Gradle plugin. Excuse me, can you help me with this? Okay, it's okay. Thanks for that. So it boots up your application on another port, and then whatever changes that you're making into a server, it looks for the changes, and then it probably reloads the entire thing for you. So this is what we have done. We have added that into an HTML, and then the h1 tag is changed. You have the entire HTML is rendered as a document here. So these are the things that you can do, and probably I'll host it on the server. So we do have support for Heroku. Heroku, with which you can just use CLI tools and then upload your entire environment over there. For that, the first thing is you have to log into your Heroku console. So once you have logged into your Heroku console, you just have to type this command JHipster Heroku. So now what it does is it just bundles your application, it packages everything, and then it hosts in the environment. So first thing is it will deploy all the CLI tool that is needed for Heroku to deploy. And then if we have any add-ons like PostgreSQL or any SQL servers, it adds in that, and then it probably pushes entire package into the server. I'll let it push. I have a couple of demos here, so probably I'll use one of the demos. So you can see here, the Postgres is added automatically. You don't need to do anything. You just have to upload the entire stuff. The database will be created, schema will be created, and all the entities that you've generated will be done for you automatically. And you do have the things installed here, so you can just go ahead and verify this. So here you go. So this is running on cloud. So the entire thing. So you can do the same thing here. And it does have all the other things. Like whatever we have created over there, it has entire suite here. And you do have metrics, which gives you the metrics of the platform in which you're running. So it's basically the Heroku's metrics, the entire JVM metrics, and all the other stuffs. You do have some setting pages, password changing pages, and of course. So now you can see this. This is a file that we are having, Heroku YAML file. This helps you to package your application, and then it creates a build, whatever way it is needed, and then it uploads a build into the server. And these are the few Docker-related files that we do have in our application. Like this is for hosting your application. This is for hosting your Postgres, and this is for running your Sonar stuffs, code compile and code qualities. And inside here, we do have an elaborate list of all the translations that you have. Based on the selection, this thing will get added. And what we do is we merge everything together and give us a single JSON file for you. So with that, you can use it. And we also trying to chunk it and then load it to the front end with the help of lazy loading. That again reduces the payload size for you. So the entire system is done in this way. We have an account module, an admin module, and we do have a certain layouts which encompasses the main header, footer, all those layout stuffs. And we have shared, in which we have the libraries that we use it across, like most of your models, most of the login management, and all those other stuffs. And we do have an interceptor, HTTP interceptor, to intercept and then add in any alerts based on your HTTP stuffs. And for every module that we are creating, we have a routing there. So this routing takes care of all the routing towards it. So this is the first step towards lazy loading, that you segregate all your components, or group it together and have it, such that in admin module, if you go, there is one routing module, and in turn, what are the components that we use, that again has a routing module inside it, which you can use it with that. So yes, this thing is done. So when I type Heroku open, it takes some time because the server is in US, so it takes some time, but it will go. So here you go. So the entire application is done and it is there, so we can test it. So we do have a complete RxJS installed here. So the entire reactive pattern we are following for all the HTTP stuffs. I think that is a browser problem. I'll just try it in Chrome. But pretty much that's it. So what's next that we have in the pipeline is we are going to integrate React altogether. So you will have an option of choosing between Angular 1, Angular 2, and React. And we do have a complete React-based module that is available in JHipster-React. So if you guys want to hit up React at first, you can go ahead and choose it. So any questions that you have? Yeah, please. Can you repeat it? Like, okay, JHipster is a human generated for you. So it is a human generated, builds your application stuff. So what we do here is okay, human is basically used for generating a lot of other things. Like there are a lot of other libraries that are outside which helps you to do it. But JHipster is mainly focusing on the Spring Boot plus Angular stuff. Yeah. Yeah, we do have plans for that. Like we are currently into developing a entire React. So we are trying to move Angular 4 out of beta. And then we probably add in React as another option for you. And added to that, we also trying to incorporate most of the PW-based principles. So we are trying to add it. That is why we are having a lazy loading stuffs. And probably we also add in other things like service workers into the pipeline. That is also in the pipeline. But we do have certain modules, like we have separate modules for generating Vue.js. So we do have support for Vue.js, which is in a separate module. And for any other framework, any other new framework that is coming into picture, if you have to add, you can obviously add in a module and take that module and use it. So basically what we have, we do have plans for doing an Android-based generated for that. So we also have, the community is talking so much about Kotlin nowadays. So we also have, there is also some people who are interested in doing Kotlin. And most of the things which we expect is we are trying to make the system as flexible as we can, and you can plug in with modules wherever you want to have. So the entire front end, if you take, you can remove whatever you have currently and then load it with React if you want. And that is what we are doing as a JHipster React project. So this entire front end is a component for you again. So you take it out and then add whatever component that you need it to have. The Angular 4 is in beta now. The entire team is looking forward to move it out of the beta now. Our plan is like to move it within next 2 months. That is a roadmap that we have. And then probably go forward with, we do have Spring Boot 2 coming up. So we also have to incorporate Spring Boot 2, which will be our next major release in terms of the entire package is concerned. But we do have plans for adding React for the next major release. So that is the next pipeline that we have. For any other stuffs, we are trying to make that as a module and then use it as a module. Is that? Yeah. How many of you guys are actually working on this front end? Okay, we are actually a team of 27 now. We entirely work on open source, and everybody has their day job. We do it after our day job. So. It's not a full-time job. It's we have day job, but this is something like we do it for open source. That's it. And we have passionate 27 people who are doing it daily. And for front end, there are like 5 or 6 people, but entire team is capable of doing front end. If there are some bugs that we hit up, something that we have to fix it, the entire team comes into it. But yeah, that is pretty much of it. No, I think most of them I have never met. Many of them are from Europe and few of them for US. So we don't meet. Whatever we do is we talk over the GitHub. And we have some channels for us. Slack we use. Otherwise, we use Google Groups with which we talk. Yeah, please. Okay. Yeah, actually you can do it. Like that is why the sole purpose of having modules is that. So you can have a look here. So this is where the project is living. So we have wide variety of modules, all from like adding a Bootstrap material design to you adding an Angular material design, adding a React component. Everything is a separate module, which are done by team from our team or from anyone outside of our team. So there are a lot of modules that are done by external members. So if you're interested, you can go ahead and always do a module, and probably we can add it in our generator if it is needed, if the community is asking for it, or else people can go ahead and use the module straight away. Again, this module is in turn again a Yeoman generated for you, and we have just migrated from the previous version of Yeoman to Yeoman 1 now. Yeah. We do have sonar checks for doing code smell. And I think we are our JHipster project is topping the sonar now with code smell and everything. Like it is maximum covered stuff, and we are targeting for 100% approximately, but now we are at 96. Sorry? Yeah, we do have linters. Like we have TSLint, and we initially had ESLint for Angular 1. Now we moved to TSLint. And we do enforce that everything is in order. So we do take care of those parts like configuring TSLint and then adding files to your git ignore and all the other stuffs, like the basic things that whatever you have to do, you need not worry about it. You just have to convert your designs into ideas into designs. That's it. No, we do have only all the open source stuffs inside. There is no commercial support, but if there is anything, I can let you know after the talk. Yes. Oh, I forgot the URL, but probably I'll tell you the URL for Sonar Source, which gives the code quality and the stuff that we are doing. Any more questions? Yeah, please. No, you basically don't have to change a lot of things for Yarn. But you have to first make sure that Yarn is working very well for you. But the thing is, you're just going to replace all your npm commands with Yarn commands. That's the main change that you're having. Okay. But apart from that, initially when we started to use Yarn, there were some problems, like some dependencies were missed out. Some libraries were missed out when fetching from the dependency graph. Those kind of things were there. But now everything is fixed, and we don't have any more issues with that. Probably you have to once try running Yarn, and then it's good to go.
Which choice better for running Node.js behind a corporate proxy? Because when we run Node.js, you try to download from dependencies like Python.js, SAS. Those are separate downloads, and sometimes if a corporate proxy block those URL is always that it doesn't value. Which choice better in this?
No, both Yarn and npm has the ability to handle the proxies, the reverse proxies, and whatever the corporate proxies that we have in our hand. We do provide you this file. This is a proxy config.json file, with which you can configure your proxy here, and probably we take care of handling the proxy and then downloading all the stuffs. And more thing like for the Gradle dependencies, for the Java dependencies which you download from the server for Gradle, you can also define the proxies in Gradle properties file. with which we will able to download all the dependencies for Java. Any more questions? Yeah. Okay, that is also we are doing it. Like we have a JHipster upgrade command, which like based on the versions that we have, like we follow somewhere. So based on the versions we have, if you have to migrate from one version to the other, and we constantly keep on migrating all the libraries and make sure that it is compatible for us, for you guys to migrate. So the moment you've done that and you have a JHipster upgrade command, you type in that command, it upgrades the entire package for you. The files, whichever has been generated with JHipster, it will be upgrading it. And probably if you have configured or if you have changed something in the file, we will ask you whether we have to overwrite it or you have to use your own stuff. So the end decision is yours, but we do have an option to upgrade your entire library structure, whatever you want. We will not try to merge those things like, oh yeah. Okay, that is the main reason why we are giving that back to you, because we will not exactly know whatever changes that you have done specific to your application. So that is one area whether you have to take a decision, whether you have to overwrite that particular stuff or you have to carry forward with whatever you have and then probably change it manually or do it manually, something like that. But we do have an option to upgrade the things that JHipster provides out of the box, and you want to upgrade those stuffs. It is easier to upgrade just a command away, and it works fine. Any other questions? Sorry, can you come again? No, those two are entirely different set of applications. Again, those two are separate Spring Boot applications for you. You can make it if you're doing a microservices-based architecture. You have single stuff called microservices gateway, with which all the UI we are going to define, and then you have separate microservice applications at the back end. So these applications will not have UI, but this gateway will have the UI with which you can use. Okay. Okay. No, for that, what you can do is you can make this two as a different. Okay, obviously it has to be two as a different applications, and they two work together. Like there's a two. Okay, if you're creating two microservices gateway, these two will work together. You have to just configure the stuff like this talks to this. So you have to make sure that these two are talking. That's it. So you have a Bootstrap YAML file in which you can change the things. You have a Bootstrap YAML file which configures to which servers it has to connect, to which URL it has to connect in specific. So you can go ahead and add this stuff, and it automatically compiles it for you. And you can also create a JHipster normal application, like microservice application, which will not have an UI, and then you can add a UI on top of it with some modules. We have some Bootstrap material design module, which actually helps you to do it. We have many people who are using it in production. We have kept it in beta just because we didn't complete the AOT part. And if you're not worrying about the AOT part, I think it's good to go with the production.
Okay, so AOT is more for the development.
Sorry?
AOT is used for compilation.
Yeah, AOT, it actually helps you to decrease the payload size for you. So that is the main intention. Like we are having a 50 to 70% of payload decrease. Thank you, guys. Yep. Thank you. Thank you, guys.